I'm sorry?
Are we doing questions? Are you guys?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's no
First question is, are we doing questions? The answer is yes.
No, I'm sorry. Now we're doing answers. Yes.
Origin stories. I didn't know if you were going to.
No. That's. I mean, there's no real format. There's no structure. There's no outline or anything. It's just we're just sitting here gabbing. So fire away, dude. Stand up if you would.
Speak from
project to the balcony.
That's easy.
Oh, good. All right.
Not my first. Okay. I do actually have a question for you. It goes back to what you were talking about when you move to a new area, and it's basically like starting over again.
Yes.
And I gotta say, you are right. And certainly, like, roughly what time of the point do you just figure out, maybe I should become a pastry chef? Because, you know, I mean, I moved down here a year and a half ago after my contract with Disney ended for doing voices for them. I've come down here, I absolutely nothing has come up at all. No auditions, nothing. Luckily, I'm still a stand-up comedian, so I can do that.
Right.
But it's, you know, voice work is something that I've always been passionate about. At what point do you just say, all right, maybe it's time to try something else?
Let me just respond with a question first.
Sure.
Where were you living when you had your Disney gig?
In Orlando. I've worked for the
Why? And you live here now?
I moved here to Dallas.
Okay. Not questioning your decision making or anything, but simply, why did you move here?
My contract ended with Disney.
Okay,
like,
so instead of, well, I guess where I'm headed is instead of staying in Florida and carrying on from there, what led you to Texas?
Texas is a place that I've always wanted to actually come to, plus Funimation and a lot of other places are actually here.
Right.
Down in Florida, pretty much a lot of it is Disney oriented, and once your contract ends, you have to wait at least another year in order to get another one.
Okay, because I mean this is good learning for everybody.
Yes.
You know what is available. Is Florida like under Disney lock and key?
Pretty much
You can't. There's nobody else really
You get a
working
year
there.
contract. They may renew you, they may not, and if they don't, you have to wait at least another year before auditioning again.
Okay. Because you know a lot of places, like we were saying before, like your local radio station, they have opportunities, or there may be a school of broadcasting, or you know a local community theater group, things like that. Yeah, moving to a new location. Strictly here again. I'm not. This is not criticizing you at all. But just you're learning a good lesson.
Yeah.
To move somewhere because you know it's a hotbed of anime production or whatever does not guarantee you work. Better maybe in hindsight, do you wish you had stayed in Florida longer and maybe pursued other things there?
Not necessarily.
Maybe or.
Not necessarily, no, because once my contract ended, I obviously had to find work.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to actually find a job in Dallas. And it wasn't that bad of an opportunity, so I found the job in Dallas. Plus, it was easy to transition my stand-up comedy career from Florida to Dallas.
Oh, okay, so you had a job to come to.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I missed that before.
It's okay.
But yeah, some people just they get so psyched about it. And they want it more than anything in the world. And I'm just going to move to Los Angeles, and I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and take a leap of faith and everything, which may work. It may work. It's not advisable to do that. And how long before you decide not to do it anymore is entirely right. I mean, you trust your gut. You trust your gut. Because, here again, there are no guarantees in this business. I mean, even if you chose medicine as a career, there's no guarantee that as a doctor, you could walk into your local hospital and get work. Every career has an element of risk to it. This one is kind of that times 10. Because there are, so many people who want that one role. And like I said, the casting people want to see all of you, but they can't possibly hire all of you. So when you reach a point where you just don't want to do it anymore, because that's the reason you have to do it, or the reason you should be going into this career is because you simply can't picture yourself doing anything else. That's all.
It wasn't necessarily a not wanting to do it. It's just cannot find. No auditions, no nothing.
Right.
Well,
right.
And every actor, regardless of where you are in your career, whether you're starting out or whether you've been doing this for 50 years, you're going to have periods like that wherever you live. If you're living in the work, you're going to have time. So, I mean, as she said, it's really up to you. There is no specific date. I will tell you, however, that don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, just because you don't have work right now doesn't mean you're not an actor. Doesn't mean it's not your passion. Doesn't mean that, I had been doing voices for Funimation for almost a decade before I even got an agent. Because everything was Funimation, and those were the people that sort of brought me in, and so I just did everything through them, and I supported myself as an adaptive writer for them, and as a director sometimes, and that's how I paid my bills. And then slowly but surely, I had other people saying, well, you should really get an agent, because there's some commercial work to be had out here, and we think you can do it. And so they pointed me in the right direction, and this is after years and years and years of saying, oh, I'll get an agent. I mean, I just didn't feel like I needed one, because I wasn't really yet ready to go outside of my bubble. And then I finally got an agent, and getting an agent, and it's even with my experience, and mind you, this is like 10 years of recording experience now, which is not inconsiderable. It still took me 3 years before I got a gig through my agent, who was nevertheless doing a great job sending me on auditions every chance, like several a day. But it took 3 years to land a commercial gig. 3 years. Now I know that's a long time, but once it starts. Once you get there, it's the kind of business I've learned that the more you do, the more you get to do. And once you've met that producer or that director, then they'll consider you next time. It can take a while to get there, so you have to have patience. You can't have this idea that like as I said earlier, you can't have this idea in your head that if I haven't landed a gig by such and such a date, I'm not an actor. Screw that. I mean, no, that's not how it works. You just have to be patient. I mean, it sounds like you're smart. You came here, you had work, you have other things, you have a backup plan. And my God, this business is about having 1,000 backup plans. Because like I said, it doesn't matter how seasoned an actor you might be, if luck's not on your side, it's just not going to happen. And we said this earlier too. You can't take not getting work personally. It's not necessarily a reflection of your skill level or what people think of you. It's just. The truth of the matter is this: you can be the most talented actor of your generation, and if you don't have luck on your side, it's simply not going to happen for you. Now, that said, in my experience, I've noticed that luck tends to favor the humble. So if you do get that shot, go in, be pleasant, be easier to work with. That's a big rule. My God, be easy to work with, because it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're a jackass in the booth with the people that are giving you your shot, they will find someone just as good as you are who is easier to deal with. So, I mean, but don't stress. I mean, you also seem like a young guy. You're just starting out. You're in that phase. Don't think, well, you seem young, so use it. But I mean, but I'm saying, it happens. It happens one day. You might find yourself suddenly flooded with work. You don't know, and it's up to you. When you decide that you can't take it anymore, then that's when you say, well, I gave it my best shot. Now move on, then look into becoming a pastry chef. But not until then. Not until then. And until then, like I said, this is something I heard another voice actor say once upon a time. It was brilliant. It is actually easier now to be an actor, perhaps, than it's ever been. Not necessarily to be a paid actor, but you can get exposure. I mean, there's somebody out there working on a YouTube video right now, or their own web series, or some student that's putting together a film, or some community theater wants to play. I mean, you can just, oh my God, someone's crashing it. Hey, Taliesin. Hey, Taliesin. This is Taliesin Jack. Hello. I mean, you can get out there just to keep yourself and to keep your chops up. Don't let it stagnate. Don't think just because you're not getting work means that you're not an actor.
or that you never will be again. If things, you know, you're going to go through your dry spells. If that happens, go do something completely different. Just don't think about it for a while. You know, get a job somewhere else. I can't think of a specific example right now, but just don't think about it for a while.
There's also a lot more jobs in show business than just simply acting.
Yeah,
There's directing, sound design, set design,
costumes,
makeup,
or something.
And thousands upon thousands of jobs that make the production happen that have nothing to do with literally acting.
Absolutely.
And a lot of production houses will look favorably on a wider repertoire if you have experience with sound direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or a number of other things. So that's something else to keep in mind of. There's more than just one job in show business.
That's it. Doug Smith,
yeah,
who got his start in this area, I believe it was for ADV Films.
Yes.
He's an artist as well as a voice actor, and he was doing cover art for, I think it was like back when it was the VHS tape. he was doing cover art, and the director came down the hall one day and said, "Yo, Doug, come here. We need voices. There was a crowd scene or something like that." And they came down the hall and grabbed him out of his like cube, and that's how he got his first voice acting job.
Ricky Simons, actually, who's the voice of Gurr in Invader Zim,
yes,
is also one of the lead colorists on Invader Zim. I'm the colorist of I Feel Sick, if you've ever read that comic book, and worked on as an animator on Jackie Chan Adventures. And I mean, yeah, he has other work. Very normal.
Yeah. And just to kind of fast forward a little bit, since I found my way into fandom, like 15 or 16 years after we did Star Blazers, and it hadn't even been on the air for so long. I had been working for AT&T for a while, because I did some other acting work after Star Blazers, but then that kind of, you know, I went on to other things. The bills had to be paid and whatnot. I moved back to Jersey and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, all these years later, I get a phone call from, at the time, he was my brother-in-law, telling me about Star Blazers websites and conventions and all this wonderful world that I had no idea even existed. I just lost my train of thought completely. Oh, doing other things if you can't necessarily do anime work or whatever. Where we live in Virginia, there is none. There's a big movie studio called New Millennium, who's run by Tim Reed, who anyone who saw WKRP in Cincinnati, he played Venus Flytrap. He and his wife live in Petersburg, and they run this wonderful studio with whom I'm going to make contact very shortly. Anyway, they may need some voice work done. But anyway, where we live, there is no anime production. And I think the nearest studio is, I think, Coastal is still up in operation.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Not far away.
Sure.
Anyway, so what I am pleased to be able to say I do now is record audiobooks from my home studio. And the way I got into that was because of an old British spy drama called The Sandbaggers, that was done right circa like Star Blazers time, right around the same time, late 70s, early 80s, and because of a fan site that I found and an author from Australia found, and we ended up connecting. She came to my website and found out what I do for a living and whatnot. She left a message in my guest book. I've written a couple of kids' books. I'd love to have them recorded. Thank you. So that's how that got started. So there's always some opportunity, like forums you can join on the internet. I pulled up a real estate website the other day, and you click on a listing, and it comes up and it says, you know, this lovely 3-bedroom colonial is being offered at, you know, $150,000 and has a pool and this. That's a voice acting opportunity. So, you know, I have a website that I'm building right now. It's not the slickest looking thing. doesn't have dancing text and dissolving things and whatever, but it's an internet presence, and you put like the little keywords that because casting people do search the internet. There's a bunch of websites where you could go and upload your demo for a fee. The casting people look at that kind of thing. I can't speak to it directly because I've never done it. But, I mean, my demo is going to go on my website, along with audiobook clips and that kind of thing. You want people who go out and do these searches. You may not come up on the first few pages of a Google, search result or whatever. But, you start. It's a place to start. Just let people know you're out there. And, it can happen.
Taliesin, now that you've joined us,
Oh, God.
Would you grace us with your origin story?
I have a bit of a weird one. I guess everybody up here is probably a little different. My name is Taliesin Jackie. These days I'm a voice actor, voice director, script adapter, freelance, whatever. Honestly, we all do whatever we... I was trying to think of my... Thank you. I'm currently working, I do some voice work for Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls, World of Warcraft. I directed the Street Fighter IV video game series, all the Street Fighter 4-y, Capcom-y, Punch People games. What can I'm Querion Evol. I'm the Kagura in Querion Evol, and Dist in Fairy Tales is the most recent stuff. But I was trying to think of my weirdest VO gig. I once dubbed over testimony from people in Palestine over some sort of weird. They were suing for like bad building practices. They were suing a construction company, and we dubbed over all of the villagers talking about how awful all the buildings were. And some law office had us coming in and was like, they came and they promised that it would be. You know, it's just like, oh God. Please come to our village. The law office, ironically, was right next door to a circus training course. So it was like clowns and acrobats coming in on one side and very unhappy people coming in the other. I'm from Los Angeles, if you don't know. So I worked actually as a child actor in film and television. I did face work. I was in television and film. Oh yes.
Sorry. I have a question. I just finished my first year at college, and I was wondering what sort of degree you would recommend for someone, because I know voice acting could take a while to be self-sustaining, if at all, and I was wondering what sort of degree you would recommend in order to have that, to be able to, lead into voice acting, but also have be able to have a financially stable career in the process.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be magic?
I'm trying to think.
How many of us have degrees?
I don't. No,
I do not.
I don't have a degree.
I've actually, yeah.
It's not a.
I started working at 6.
Yes.
Actually, I'm a college dropout. I mean, not that I'm not telling you to drop out of college.
No, if you're in school, stay there.
Unless it's a terrible school.
She's right.
I use Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is my favorite example of this. I assume everybody knows who Val Kilmer is. He was the Batman you never remembered. Well, that's the thing, though, is like he's the Batman you never remember, but like he's got a really good career, and he went to a dramatic arts elementary school, dramatic arts junior high school, dramatic art high school, and he went to college. He has a degree in theater. Crispin Freeman has a degree in theater. I know, I use him as my example.
I love your Crispin Freeman voice.
Tatum, are you trying to say something, Tatum? Would you like to share it with everyone? I do know you can. I've been in a room with Crispin for like 3 days this week, so I can hear him in my head judging. Get your life together, really. He already, I can feel him hating me for that. No, but a theater degree is not a great way to pay the bills, but a theater degree is a great way to enjoy your poverty at the very least. I don't have any money. I have a great time. You can decide on the illusion of security.